Yo, what's going on, snipers, and welcome back to our Winnipeg Jets franchise mode here in NHL 24. So in last episode we had the draft and re-sign stage, and it was definitely our best draft I think we've ever had in franchise mode. We drafted like 6 low elites, and yeah, I think the future of the team is very, very bright considering we have a very good NHL team right now made up of good players. AHL team was decent last year, and even adding more good prospects into that pool just makes it even better. As you can see, we drafted Scarlett with our first rounder. He's pretty much NHL ready almost at this stage, but I am going to wait a little bit on him before we sign him. Also, we did draft a lot of low elites, as I mentioned. So if we go to like forwards, for example, you can see that we have all these low elites, and all of them are from that draft. So Hurd, Enroth, Jaquizi, Eberle, and Bickle. And if we go to the defensive side of things, we have Louis Hivara as a low elite defenseman. So we do have a lot of good prospects. We don't have that much on goaltending, so maybe that's something we look at in the future. But for right now, our prospect pool is definitely getting better every single year. And like I said, our AHL team was good last year. They made the playoffs. They have a lot of good talent in it. Our NHL team obviously has a lot of young talent in it as well. So this team is definitely on a really good trajectory of probably winning a Stanley Cup, hopefully within the next, like, I'd say 5 seasons at most, just because I think this team should probably make it back to the playoffs almost again this upcoming season, just because we obviously made it with a little bit of an average roster last year. So should be very interesting to see what this team does and who actually is in our lineup and who's back in the AHL for another season. But anyways, before we get into free agency and also making a pretty big trade, I think, let's get into your guys' comments and see what you guys have to say about last episode. So the first 2 comments are from Michael Dost. The first one says, I think that may have been the best draft that Winnipeg has had so far, and I totally agree with that, because we've had some average drafts beforehand. We've had some good steals, but this one in particular, getting 6 low elites, I don't think I've ever had a draft where I've drafted that much low elites. Like, we're lucky that our scouts did a very good job at finding those guys, and then we were easily able to take them. So very happy with our draft performance. Also, Michael says, give Jimmy a year before signing him is what I say. What's the hurry on putting a 17-year-old at 77? And I totally agree with that. I wasn't sure if I wanted to sign him just because of the fact that some top 4s, when they are high overalls of the draft, they don't really develop much. So that's why I was thinking of maybe getting him into the lineup earlier. But we are going to wait 1 year on Jimmy and see if he gets to like an 80 overall, and then maybe he could be on our top 6 pairing as early as next season. It's a nice kind of, because he's a right-handed defenseman, so we kind of have ourselves a little bit more of a balanced approach on who's on what side. You can see like Cairo and Galvis could play both sides, which is kind of nice. Kane is a right-handed defenseman, and then we have some pure left-handers as well. So we will have a good mix of defensemen in our lineup eventually down the road. The next comment is from Dead Allen Gamble, who says, I say bring in Addison as a decent option, as the OFD for a few years could turn him around at the deadline. And that might be something we'd look at, as bringing in Addison, because I think we might honestly have Kane back in the AHL for another season, or we have somebody else as a depth defenseman, something like that. But bringing in some guys that would obviously help us with our cap situation be a great thing, because you could see we have $50 million in cap space, so we definitely need to try and find a way to get ourselves a little bit more closer to the cap floor, because obviously that is way too much cap space to have at this point. We are also going to be giving extensions in this episode to Misa and Irving, just because both of them are deserving of an 8-year extension, so they'll likely get that in this episode. The next comment is from Tavin Gaming, who says, like I said a few episodes ago, you become a contender, go out in free agency. There will be good players in there that will help you and the team out. You have way too much money to spend it on it, and you could spend it on a decent player, and that's true. The player that I'm looking at is not a player that's a free agent. Well, he is a free agent. You guys saw him obviously last episode, but we'll get to that when we get to that point. The next comment is from Jonas Ellis, or Jonas Ellis, one of the two, who says, your team did way too good last year to not have a good run this time around. I think you need a good defenseman. I'd say either go with Addison or Bokus from free agency, or trade for Palin or Dickinson. Dickinson's contract ain't that bad, by the way. $8 million for that kind of demand is pretty reasonable. So yeah, we might end up trading for Dickinson or Palin's rights. The one I would probably be leaning towards is Palin. He is on the Toronto Maple Leafs, I think. He was on Vancouver. For some reason, Vancouver wanted to trade him, and then now for some reason he wants to get dealt again. So this guy might be a bit of a problematic character. But you can see here is Dennis Palin. You can see He's played 3 NHL seasons up to this point. He's been an okay DFD. His plus minus ain't the best. His point totals aren't the best, obviously, either. But obviously, bringing in a guy that just went first overall a few years back would be very, very nice. He would also help out our defensive core quite a bit, too. So we are probably going to try and trade for his rights and sign him to an 8-year extension. That way we have kind of a bona fide defenseman for us for a long time that we can put next to an offensive defenseman like Kyrou and build up the future of that blue line quite a bit. And then the last two and final comments are from Saturn Otaku. The first one says, another Hughes on the Canucks who's going to be an absolute stud. Jimmy is solid pick, but I think you should keep him in juniors for 1 season. Even if he only moves up to a 78, 79 overall, he'll be that much more ready to join the big club that following season. I wouldn't sign Hurd right away either. As a big guy with strong character, he could be a future captain or alternate captain for the NHL team. With Rantanen being gem, there's a chance he could develop into being a top 6 defenseman at the NHL level. The rest of the draft was outstanding. In the future, you should be able to sign some good free agents to complement these players. And yeah, I'm really stoked with our draft. I think our draft definitely will help us out quite a bit, and then obviously, like you said, signing some big name free agents to surround those young guys with. Eventually we should be able to make a team that can actually probably get to the cup finals multiple times within a short span, my guess. And I was asking him about if there was any good players to bring in to get us to the cap floor that he would sign this season, and he said, to be honest, I would try and find a trade for Palin, do Chinnikov and Lambert if Toronto won't take anything else, sign him to a reasonably large bridge deal, though not something so huge that you couldn't move him if he doesn't pan out. You could also see what you could trade for Pelech, though his value might be too high relative to what you'd have to give up. The only guy on your unsigned prospect list that looked okay for the AHL was Wilson, but that's another ELC. You might just have to do what you've done previously and sign a depth forward for a massive amount. Edit, also I was checking your progress reports. Go in depth, or also when checking your progress reports, go in depth on your best prospects to see how much points they've been putting up. So yeah, we'll definitely try and do that in future episodes. And like he was saying, we are probably going to try and trade for Palin as well, as the other guy was mentioning as well. And then we'll probably end up having to sign some people to like some ridiculous contracts just to kind of get us to the cap floor. So, because I don't think there's really much way we could get to the cap floor otherwise, because of the fact we have so much cap space. So yeah, we're going to try and trade for Palin first. That should give us a bit of cap hit, but we are going to be giving up cap in the trade for him, which is interesting. So hopefully we are able to get ourselves closer to that cap floor, and if not, then we'll probably have to just sign some depth forwards or something like that and just give them a lot of money, and we wouldn't even be able to trade them away probably, but we'll still hold on to them to hold us to that cap floor for another season or two. So let's get into that trade that we are going to make for Palin. I think I had a trade in mind. So originally when we were looking at the trade finder, there was offers that involved Chinnikov. And Chinnikov is a type of guy I don't mind flipping away, because even though he's a winger and we don't really have a ton of wingers, Irving is almost ready to take that jump over Chinnikov in the depth chart. And then we eventually have guys like Hemming as well. We have Hellenius. So I think moving out Chinnikov here is a no-brainer. He is also still signed for 5 more seasons, so we are freeing up cap space long-term in a sense. But obviously we're going to be spending that on Palin once we have to actually sign him. So we will give them Chinnikov, and there is a couple other players that I'll add to this. There was Brad Lambert that they wanted, but I don't really want to move Brad Lambert, to be honest. I still like the guy. He is 24 years old already at this point, but he's on a nice little contract. And it's a perfect contract for a third-line center, so I'd like to hold on to him for a little bit longer. But there is a couple pieces I am willing to move. There is Connor Levi, or Levis, one of the two. He's not really going to develop into being much. He's at 78 at 23. I don't think he even gets into the 80 overalls in franchise mode that often, so they do want him. So we're going to add him to this point in deal. And there is another player I'm going to add, or another pick I'm going to add to this deal. I was thinking about potentially moving Colby Barlow since he has more value. I could do that if they don't accept it. But Barlow, at least, maybe he could still pan out a little bit, but I don't think he's going to be honest. So I might still want to trade him away at some point. So Barlow could be part of a different deal if we want to make a different deal at some stage. But we are going to be throwing in our 3rd round pick into this deal because we have 2 first round picks this year. So it doesn't really matter too much about this 3rd. I don't think we're going to hit anything super good with it either. So we are going to throw our 3rd round pick into this deal, and I think that should hypothetically get it done. And I want all 3 of the pieces, we're sending them, and then we get Palin in. So basically, instead of giving up Lambert, we're only giving up Levi in a 3rd. If they want more than that, we could always add a little bit more. But I think this deal should hypothetically go through, and then we could sign Palin, like I said, to a massive extension to help us out quite a bit, and hopefully that gets us a little bit closer to that cap floor. So will this work? Chinnikov, Levi in a 3rd for Palin, and that's accepted. So there we go. That's actually a pretty good deal, I would say. Chinnikov, obviously the big piece of that trade, so maybe he'll go on to help the Leafs, but right now I think we got ourselves now a good future defenseman for our defensive core. Because now if we look here, and let's actually go to RFA here, sign Palin if we can to an 8-year extension or something like that. Yeah, that's reasonable. That's a reasonable extension. We'll try the 85% trick as well, because we want to kind of knock him down as much as possible, because I don't want to overpay on him. I know you guys were saying a bridge deal, but I kind of want to just lock him up. And it will be still a movable contract, I think, if we could get him for 85% off the 6.85 he's asking for. Because I think we might be able to get him for like 5.825, which would be pretty solid. So we'll definitely try that. Obviously, this could tank his growth potentially too by giving him a contract like this, but at the same time, it will help us in the cap space. We might not want to try the 85% trick in a way, just so we actually get to the cap floor, but we'll try this 8-year at 5.825 and see if he'll accept it with us, and hopefully he does. Because now he's joined his 3rd NHL team and he's only played 3 seasons. So I'm kind of wondering what's wrong with this guy and why he wants to be dealt so much, or why he gets traded all the time. So that should put us up by $2 million after we move Chinnikov. So that means we're going to need to still sign some other pieces here probably in the offseason. So let's find ourselves some like a depth defenseman, a depth forward, and our 2 depth forwards, even if we don't need them. We just need to sign people to some outrageous contracts. And I know, once again, you guys are going to say it's unrealistic, but that's the only thing we could really do at this stage. So, Thompson might be interesting. He is a depth defenseman. Jack Thompson, 26 years of age. Ooh, his defense is pretty bad, but his shot blocking and stick checking is good. Huh. You know what? We'll take on this guy. Why not? And I will try and give him, like, I'll just give him a max amount of money almost, just to get us up to the floor a little bit more, which might be kind of a stupid thing to do, but at the same time, we need caps. So Jack Thompson for $19.3 million, enjoyed the money. And then we need 2 depth forwards probably. We might not even need 2 depth forwards, but it's just precautionary reason. We'll sign Svechkovsky. Why not? You want a 2-way deal, but we're going to give you a 1-year deal, and we're not going to give you the full $19 million like the other guy. We're going to just give you like I might give you like $7 million. I thought this was supposed to go faster, but it feels like it's not going much faster. I know it does for the coaches, but still feels like it's taking 10 years to scroll through this. Okay, Svechkovsky. And let's give you 8.85. Sure, that should be good. And the other one we'll just get like $3 or $4 million, and then we should be closer to the cap floor. We don't want anybody that's gonna crack our lineup really. Let's go for Carson Bankier. No, he's a 4th liner. I don't want a 4th liner. I want a depth forward like Francisco Arcuri. Why not? So we'll give him like $5 million to sit on our bench and be a depth option for this team. Should be exciting to see what our team is looking like next season. Even if some of these guys are in the minors, it's okay, but more than likely we'd use them as depth instead. So that should get us closer to the cap floor with all those deals in place. I think we are pretty much good to start advancing a little bit, because we did offer the scouts contracts in last episode, right? If I remember right. Let me just double check that we actually offered contracts to scouts. Yes, we did. Okay. And we already went and addressed the coach too, I think. Yeah, we offered a contract to a goalie coach, so we should be getting notified about that shortly. So I don't think there's really anything else to do, if I'm not mistaken. Let me just double check. We are going to have to reassign the scouts that we're hiring right now, which is okay. Yeah, okay, I think we're set up and ready to go. So let's advance and see if everybody accepts and how close we are to the cap floor. We might need to sign one more cap whale, but let's see. So there is the goalie coach. Jakub Kondratic has joined the team. Awesome. There's one of the scouts coming in. Lefebvre, Nikolishin, Wong. Okay, it looks like we're getting most of the scouts. Lieb. Okay, maybe another scout will accept another day. Yep, Ahinen accepts as well. Wisniewski. And I think that's all our scouts. Yaroslav Halak. Is that the actual goaltender, or is that a generated Yaroslav Halak? 44 years of age. Did I actually sign Yaro Halak as a scout, or is that not the real one? He's only 44, so it makes me feel like it's a real one, which is kind of funny. So there's Jack Thompson taking the money, of course, Svechkovsky and our Curry. So that should be everything, I think, that we sent money out to, right? Let's double check on this. Yep, we're at 20 to 20 scouts, so we got all of those scouts that we offered contracts to. And how are we in terms of cap space now? 22.92. We might need to sign another cap whale, but let's double check first on the proposed trade screen. Oh yeah, we're a little tiny bit below, just a tiny bit below. So we will sign one more player to like a $3 million contract to play in the AHL. I honestly don't care who it is, but let's sign ourselves another defenseman for the AHL, because might as well. Oh, Palin didn't even accept his extension yet. I just realized, right? So yeah, we might actually be over the minimum cap already with Palin. You just got to wait on him to see if he's going to accept that extension. Yeah, Palin hasn't accepted yet, so once he accepts, we will be fine, I think, cap-wise. So that's good. What was I going to do? I think there was something I was going to just do, but I can't remember now what it was. Oh well. Let's see if Palin accepts. There we go. I believe in signing will be good for myself and the franchise. So Dennis Palin in on an 8-year extension before he even plays a single game with the Jets. So there we go. We should be above the minimum cap now. 18.06. Yeah, we should have enough cap space now. Okay, there was some stuff we wanted to do that I almost forgot about doing. So Aiden Irving, 8-year extension in place. Let's do it. Oh, wow, he wants a lot of money, but I don't blame him. He's a great goal scorer. So Aiden Irving wants 7.9 for 8 years. So we're going to try the 85% trick, get him and Misa locked up on both 8-year extensions, because both these guys are the future of this team, I think. So we should be able to get Irving for 6.725, which might be a very good steal for us. And then Michael Misa as well on an 8-year extension. Oh my goodness. Oh, he wants a ton of money. But will it be worth it? It's a bit of a risk, but I gotta do it now, I think. I gotta do it now, or else he's gonna eventually demand more money than that. I don't know why he's trying to get 15.6. That's a lot of money. But on 85%, we might be able to get him to like 13.3, I think. Yeah, something like 13.3 should work. Or 13.275, yeah. That might be an overpayment right now, but we need extensions in place with their top guys. I hope you guys understand why I just did that, but Misa and Irving should accept those extensions. And then we got our future locked up for 8 years, which is awesome. Yep, Misa has accepted and Irving has accepted, so both of them are on 8-year extensions that kick in not this coming season, but the next season. So we probably won't have to deal with much cap problems down the road, which is great. Did we need a goalie? I don't remember if we needed a goalie. I don't think so, because Gabriel Dag was jumping up, right? Let me just double check on this front. No, we definitely don't need a goalie. Okay, perfect. Even though we just got offered Askarov, which would be interesting, but we don't need him. I do not need a goaltender. Thank you, though, AI, for offering me some trades. No, thank you. We got our team set up, and I'm excited to see what they look like next season. There was an off-season trade. Denisenko and Binnington go to the Islanders for 2 second-rounders. Okay. I'm also, like I said, going to have to adjust the scouts before we start the season, so I'll probably have to do a cut and do that on my own. But yeah, I am very excited to start simulating the season. We'll probably simulate only a couple months, though, just to see how our team is doing at that point. So let's go done for now, and I will address the scouting stuff, and I'll see you guys in a second. Okay guys, so our scouts have been reassigned, so now we should have 2 scouts in pretty much every single region except for a couple like Extraliga in Germany. Looks good. Perfect. We should be able to have a pretty good draft ahead of us again if our scouts do a good job and if it's actually a good scouting, our draft class. So let's take a look at what our lines are looking like for this season. Okay, we got to set this up the right way. So, obviously, I don't want Misa and Perfetti on the same lines, so we have to kind of split them up a little bit here. Michelli the first line. Ooh, maybe I'm actually Misa to the first line. Let's see. Oh, Stankoven's a second line forward. Man, that's not great, considering we have 2 guys that are already second line centers. Yikes, okay. I want Grosek up there instead. Holy crap, man. Oh my goodness, this team is way too deep. Holy shit, man. Okay, we might need to make some more trades. But this center depth and winger depth is incredible, at least in the preseason. Wow. I didn't expect Grosek to jump to an 83. He's listed as a depth forward, so he actually might not be that high. Which means our left side might be a little bit weaker than we actually think. Defensively, we don't want Thompson in. He was just signed as a depth option, so I am going to have to do roster moves here quickly just to make sure we don't have anybody to call up in these spots. So, those guys are fine. Kane should be up here for sure. And then Thompson would be our depth defenseman, so we'll call up Kane for sure. What else we got here? Yakala should technically be NHL bound. He is also the depth forward. I kind of want to get him in, but we'd need to trade like Kumpalainen to get him in. Yeah, the rest of those guys are okay to play in the minors for now. Do we need more depth forwards up here? I should check who's also scratched first, but we will call up Kane for sure. Let's just go best AHL lines. And go back to NHL here. Who's scratched at the moment? Ooh, Luke Misa does not want to be scratched. Okay, yeah, definitely not. Okay, we are going to have to make a trade. We are going to have to make a trade before the start of the season. I'm trying to think of what we want to do. Oh my god. Holy crap, man. Everybody's listed as like a third liner or above. Grosek's still a depth forward, but he might actually be that good. I'm trying to think of who we would want to move. I think Brad Lambert actually might be on his way out. We should have probably dealt him regardless. Imagine if we would have still had Chinnikov on this forward group, how hard it would have been. So if we trade away Lambert, we would be able to get Luke Misa into the lineup. Luke Misa is a left-handed shot. How good is his face-offs? Pretty solid. How about Lambert? How is his face-offs? Really good. Hemming also could play center. Doesn't really win face-offs, though. Yeah, I think it's got to be Brad Lambert. So we are going to take Brad Lambert out of the lineup. Luke Misa is going to come in on that 4th line. And yeah, I think Lambert's going to get dealt before the start of the season. As weird as that might seem. That is craziness. I didn't expect this amount of growth from a lot of these guys. I don't think I did, at least. So yeah, Brad Lambert needs to get dealt. And then we will likely call up our Curry as our depth option. Yeah, I think that's what we're going to run with. I could also trade Kumpalainen if I wanted to get Yakala into the lineup, but I don't think I want to do that just yet. Yeah, this team should easily make the playoffs at this rate. The goaltending definitely is a little bit weak, but Dag is an 83 now, so he might be already a starter. Okay, let's trade Brad Lambert away. I don't really know what I want for Brad Lambert, but let's just go find trade and see what we could potentially get for Brad Lambert. I might just take picks, to be honest. How close are we to the minimum cap? Because we might need to bring in cap. Let's just go find open trade. A second and a third, 2 seconds, 2 seconds. A prospect in a second. That's an interesting one from Colorado, but it is in our division, so I don't know about that. 2 seconds from New Jersey. Evgeny Malkin, who's dropped off a cliff in a third rounder. That's funny. We want to send him probably to the Eastern Conference, my guess. So let's see. Let's go to like Boston for 2 second rounders. Here we go. Brad Lambert to Boston. We just got to offload him. There's no way we could have held on to him. I know it kind of sucks to trade away a guy that we weren't expecting to trade away, but we needed to do so. Just so we could get the guys into the lineup. It does make us a little bit weaker because Misa is actually only an 81, but still, we needed to get him into the lineup for sure. Irving's only an, or not Irving, Grossek's only an 81 as well. So we are a little bit weaker on the left side, but that's okay. Let's try this instead for just for beneficiary reasons. Yeah, it looks good still though. And holy crap, Dag is actually an 85. What the hell? That's like the highest overall I've seen for a rookie goaltender. Okay, and we are going to call up Arcuri from the AHL as our other depth option. And we are pretty much set up and ready to go at that point. Let's just go best AHL lines. We're going to set that up a little bit too. And then I think we are pretty much ready to start simulating. I think this team definitely makes it to the playoffs, depending on how good our coach fits with our team. But it's looking pretty good right now. Let's just make sure Scarlett should definitely not be scratched. So we're going to take out Ivanov and throw in Scarlett as the AHL backup. And that should be nice and set up. Yeah, Colby Barlow definitely is dropping down the depth chart a bit, but that's okay. The AI had to sign us a bunch of weak prospects, I guess, because we didn't have enough guys signed under contract, but that's okay. Yeah, they definitely had to, because I didn't draft some of these guys. Let's try and improve the chemistry a bit if we can. And we can a little bit. That's not bad. And we'll go with that. The HL team is not as good as it has been in prior years, but it's okay. Hopefully some of those guys develop well enough. And let's make sure our NHL team's power play is set up the way we want it. Looks good to me. 5 forwards on the first unit, which is kind of crazy. Grosek on the second unit is going to be nice. I like those 2 power play lines, I think. What about the penalty kill? Oh, wow. I just realized both Misas are playing together on the first penalty kill. Yeah, we got to do that. Luke and Michael will play together on the line. Why not? Why not? Yeah, I don't mind it. It's not the best chemistry in the world special team-wise, but it should be good. Let's take a look at our coach scheme fit, see if he actually has a good fit with this team. And then we will start simulating. So Smiths, you should be pretty good, right? 55. Actually, that's terrible. Holy crap. So yeah, Smiths is not a great fit for this team, so we might want to... I can't demote him and stuff like that. That's the only thing. Let's fire our AHL goalie coach at the moment, and Jesse Clutterbuck, so we can kind of rework the coaching staff in the NHL and see if we can find our best coach possible for our team. So Jenkins is a 58, so he's technically better. What about Cardwell? Cardwell is a 65. Okay, Guillermo, he's going to be our head coach for sure. And that's all good and ready to go. And then we just need to hire ourselves back up a goalie coach. Let's see. We want to find ourselves a good goalie coach. I think we'll bring just back the same guy again, which is Clutterbuck. So Clutterbuck will come back again for the AHL goalie coach job. Watch, he'll reject because I just fired him. Don't worry, come back. It was only a temporary thing. And we should be good. We have our best coach in mind. We have our scouts assigned to the new regions. We have our lineup set up. Let's take a look at the chemistry with this coach. See how good it looks. +5 on the first line. I like that. +1 only on the second line. But that's okay. Not really much I could do to get it better. Ooh, I could do that. Can any of these guys take face-offs though? Hellenius can't. Caden Lindstrom could though. But he's not the best center. You know what? Let's try this. Why not? Lindstrom has center as another position, so we can put him there. Or I could actually move Luke Misa up to that line. Ooh, okay, that might work too. Go with the more physical kind of fourth line. Yeah, I don't mind it. We'll try this instead for something different. Just trying to maximize the chemistry a bit if we can. I don't want to put Galvis on the top 6 because he was great last year, so yeah, that's good. That is good. We're ready to start the season sim. And I think this team's a playoff team at this rate, but who knows? Maybe they'll just sim really terribly. But a new coach, and we also have a very solid young-looking team. And we have a bunch of good unsigned players. Still some good guys in the minors, too, that we could use to upgrade certain positions. But let's go to the end of the preseason. And it will probably simulate, I'd like to say, up till like December the 1st. So like 20 games. And wow, a 10-1 win in our first preseason game with that new coach. That's kind of crazy. I don't think that's going to happen in the regular season where we win 10-1, but still, that's really crazy to see that. 4-3 in the preseason, not too bad. Leading us in points, Logan Stankoven, 10 points in 7 games, pretty good. Should be interesting to see how that top 6 performs. I think we might be a little bit, tiny bit weaker without Lambert, but our defensive core should be improved with the addition of Palin quite a bit. Also, it should be interesting to see how we do without Chinnikov, because Chinnikov was solid last year, but he was kind of lost behind like guys like Irving a bit point-wise. So let's go to the end of October and see how we do in our first 8 games, I think it is. If my math is right. Yeah, I think it is. No, thank you. Do not need Ryan Lindgren. We're not trying to trade for a player right now at this stage. And we are going to start off 4-4. So not the best starts, but that's okay. We're still early on in the year. Let's go to the end of November. See if we're doing a little bit better than 500 at that point. Because this team should be a very good team. Wow, 9-8 shootout loss. What in the hell is that? That might be the highest scoring shootout loss I've ever seen. We are still not simulating the best, but we are starting to find ourselves a little bit here. I think 9-7-2. Still pretty average. A little bit lower than I was expecting our team to do in this beginning. I might simulate one more month, but Michael Meese off to a great start. 22 points, 18 games. So I know I paid a lot of money on him starting next season, but I think it's definitely trusting that he's going to become that elite superstar starting next year. So hopefully it wasn't an overpay. If it wasn't overpay, maybe he gets dealt in like 5 years. But I think playing next to somebody like Irving should do well enough for him anyways. Okay, let's do one more month. Why not? Why not? See if we're actually doing better than like around 500 at that point. Caden Kane has been injured to start his rookie season with a sprained ankle. Let's just go replace player. But that kind of sucks. Obviously, we want those youngsters playing as much as possible. And Caden Kane, I think, has top 4 potential. He was one of those guys I believe we acquired. So we'll take Thompson out. Kane will come in. But yeah, we have a lot of young prospects jumping here into the NHL. Like Grosek is a rookie. Hellenius, I guess, is kind of a rookie. And I don't know if there was anybody else other than Kane. And Palin's kind of a rookie for our team, at least. Dag's definitely a rookie goaltender. So that's where we might be a little bit weak, is the fact we have a rookie goaltender in net. But he should simulate decently, but looks like he's not off to the best of starts, as Caden Lindstrom has been injured with a mild concussion, and he's out till December 25th. Let's go replace player on that front. But that kind of sucks. Final few games of the month. We're still kind of simulating really weirdly. Okay, so let's take our Curry out, and we'll put Lindstrom back in here. Yeah, we're still simulating very weirdly to start this year. Like, I don't know if our team's going to be a playoff team at this rate, so I don't know what we need to really look for. 17-15-2. The last playoff spot in the West has 39 points. We're on 36. So we're right there with them. And we have a lot of games in hand, too. We have 4 games in hand on that wildcard team. So we might be in an okay spot, but we definitely need to start winning more games than losing games if we actually still want to make it to the playoffs. Let's take a look at our team stats and player stats so far for the season. We'll also briefly take a look at the trading block to see if there's anything out there, because I think next episode we honestly might simulate the rest of the season at this rate. So where are we right now in the standings? How good are we doing? We are currently not doing too good. We're 22nd. We have played like one of the lowest amount of games, it looks like. But in terms of offense, our offense is the second best in the NHL, but we're not in the playoff spots. So we're just giving up a bit too much goals. That's our problem right now. Yeah, we're the worst defensive team in the NHL, but we're the second best offensive team. So it could be because of the inexperience on the blue line, and also because Gabriel Dag's in it. He's inexperienced too. This is his rookie season, so we could make some defensive adjustments, or we could just run with it and see what ends up happening. Like, I'm surprised our team's above 500 if they're allowing more goals than we're scoring. Power play percentage wise, we have one of the best power plays, so our power play is doing good. Our offense is doing good, but our penalty kill probably, yep, our penalty kill and our defensive play has been trash. So that's kind of interesting. Great offensive team, terrible defensive team, and pretty average on home ice and on the road and in our last 10 games. Let's take a look at these player stats, because I am curious on how everybody is doing to start the year, considering we're one of the best offensive teams in the NHL. So Michael Wiese on 46 points. He's been great so far. He's actually listed as a first liner now, and he's got that amazing extension that kicks in next season. Perfetti is on 38 points. He's been really good as well. Lucius on 34 points. Stankoven on 32. So these four guys have been great. And Luke Misa has been pretty good in his first season with 25 points and 10 of them on the power plays. So the minus 11 is not that great, but that's okay. Kumpalainen on 12 points is pretty decent, and Arcuri had 2 points in 5 games as a depth option. Then we head to our left wing side of things. Michelli on 37 points, not bad. Grosek on 10 goals and 17 points. That's pretty decent. Not obviously doing as good as Irving did in his first season, it seems like, but he's on pace for like a 20-goal season, which is not a bad way to start it off. His shooting category is really good, so he should develop into being a very solid offensive threat for us down the road. Lindstrom on 8 points, not bad in 29 games, even 0. Right wing wise, oh my goodness. That's why we extended Irving already. 19 goals in 34 games, 34 points. The 19 goals makes him on pace for how much? Let me actually open up a calculator for fun, because I am curious on what he's on pace for. Some of you might be able to do the math already, but I can't do that in my head. So let's see. He is on pace for 45 goals, or 46 closer to. So we'll see if he ends up having another 40-goal season in his bag, but he's off to a great start. Hellenius on 19 points, Hemming on 11. So yeah, the depth scoring on our offensive side of things early on in the season has been great, but we obviously need to be better defensively, because we only have one plus forward at the moment, and that's Lucius. Everybody else is minus, especially Luke Misa, Hellenius, Michelli. So there's that defensively. Cairo on 26 points, minus 8. Palin on 13 points, minus 8. Not the best for the guy we just traded for, but that's okay. His contract isn't egregious. It's a perfect contract for a top 4 defenseman. Kane on 8 points is not bad. Minus 10 though. Heinola is our only plus defender that's played every game. Yeah, we are definitely conceding a little bit too much goals here. Kolyachonok is minus 12. So Kolyachonok having his worst season with the club, especially after his last 2 years were really good. Plus minus wise, this year not so much. And then Galvis has dropped off considerably in production. I don't know if last year he had power play time. He did not. He did have short-handed time though, but he's definitely dropped off production-wise this year so far, which is not ideal. Is his ice time down at all? Because I am curious on why that is. No, his ice time is up by like 5 minutes, so he should be doing a lot better, but he isn't, which is really weird. Goaltending-wise, yeah, Gabriel Dag's not having a great rookie year. He does have 2 shutouts, but a below 900 save percentage and almost a 4 goals against. And Lucas Dostal has been absolutely tragic so far. An 837 through 7 games. Okay, so the goaltending might be the problem. Might not be the defensive core necessarily, but it might be the goaltending. But obviously Gabriel Dag should be much better once he actually has a better defensive core in front of him. Dostal is one of these guys that's a pending free agent. He's probably gone at the end of the year anyways, so not too mad about that. If we have another high up pick this year, that's okay with me. But it's definitely a little bit up in the air because of our offense. And yeah, currently looks like the Leafs are having a good season, I think. Do you have a rookie leading in points out of curiosity? Yes, Luke Mesa is #1 in rookie points, but Tidge Ginla, #2. And then you have Johan Oberg. Dante Guerin. Philippe Groshek's up there. Not bad. So there is that. Let's take a look at the trading block and stuff like that. But I don't really know what direction we want to take this team. We're pretty average at the moment. We could still make the playoffs, but we're allowing a lot of goals. We're scoring a lot of goals. So it's like we need to find a way to keep the puck more out of the net if we want to be a playoff team and for a long time. Let's take a look at that trading block, see if there's anything intriguing out there. I don't know why we're simulating worse defensively, if it's the goaltending or what, but something has changed definitely a little bit. Maybe it's because we gave up Lambert. It could be easily as that. Let's see. Any good defenseman that could help us out defensively a little bit if we wanted to actually go for a playoff run. Because I don't know if we want to go for a playoff run yet because this team is still young. So maybe we want to wait another season. Or something like that. Just hopefully we don't get into a bit of a morale problem. Bieksa, power forward that's medium elite, is on the block by the Avs. Interesting. Former 3rd round pick. Decent prospect, but I don't think I have anything I could get for that guy. Or give up for that guy. And I don't even think we would really need him to. Parks is NHL ready now. We were looking at this guy before. He is in the AHL still, which is kind of crazy. As a 79. But in terms of guys that could help us right now, if we wanted to play better defensively, there isn't really a whole lot out there. It looks like mostly just prospects at the moment. At least that I'm seeing. Yeah, there is not really a lot. Because, like, Cale Clagg's not really what I'm looking for in this time period. New York Islanders. There's still Pulock and Pelech, who would be not that bad, but... Pelech would be probably pretty good for this team defensively, but we'd have to give up a lot to get him likely because of that value. And the fact that he's an 88. He'd be like purely a rental as well, so it'd be a big risk to give up a lot of good prospects in order to get somebody like him in. Carter Hart's available, but we don't really need a goaltender. Even if our goaltending hasn't been simulating well, I would rather keep with my goaltenders. I gotta see what it would cost for Pelech. I think that's the only option out there if we wanted to make the playoffs. Or we could still make the playoffs this year with the team we have, but we obviously probably will concede too much goals to win a Stanley Cup in my guess. Nothing there really in Vancouver. Vegas. Some good forwards, but we're looking more on the defensive side of things, and that's it. So let's take a look at what the Islanders want for Pelech if we are to potentially give ourselves a better chance this year. Let's see. They're probably going to want something crazy, and I'm not going to want to give it to them. Let's see. Pelech, what do you want? Irving and Dag, no chance. Michelli and Dag, no chance. Stankoven and Misa, no chance. Chaz Lucia, straight up, no thanks. A first rounder in Luke Misa, no thanks. We could technically do that one, but Luke Misa is potentially a Rookie of the Year candidate, so that's a very big asking price for him. What if I actually just went on based on our block? No trades fan, of course. What about somebody like Pulock, who's signed for 2 years? Probably a lot, right? Dag, Lundstrom, and Kane, no thank you. Michelli and Grosek, Misa, Scarlett, and Hemming, no. Stankoven, no. And Irving, no. Okay, so I don't think there's really much we'll be able to trade for next episode, but if we want to be a playoff team, we got to address the defensive need a little bit, or we could just simulate the season and see what ends up happening. And then from the offensive standpoint, everything's been good, so we might as well just keep our offense the same and look at defense. But is there anything intriguing in this year's draft? I want to take a look at this already. There's a franchise player supposed to go first overall. Does that sway us to want to not make the playoffs? There's also a medium elite OFD, which would be great to help out our offense from the back end. This might be a draft class we want to move, or we want to not make the playoffs. We do have 2 first rounders. San Jose's first as well. Is San Jose doing well? Because I didn't even take a look at that. Oh, they're bottom of the Pacific. We might have 2 potential lottery picks if San Jose continues to play this bad. Like, if we look at the value of our first round picks. Okay, this is good. We could still make the playoffs if we want to and have a lottery pick with San Jose, but obviously if we miss the playoffs, 2 lottery picks is very nice. Wow, if we end up getting a franchise player with that San Jose pick, I would be surprised. Where is San Jose in terms of the entire league? Because if they're dead last, we might have like the best odds if they continue to play that bad. They are currently not the worst team, but still we have decent odds at potentially winning a draft lottery this year, but Nashville looks like they're by far the worst. So there is a chance we could potentially be getting ourselves a decent prospect with that San Jose pick, unless they turn it around in the second half of the season, but they are 15-20-3, which is not very good. So anyways, guys, that's going to do it for this episode of our Winnipeg Jets franchise mode. So in next episode, we will probably simulate the rest of the season. We might make some trades, we might not. We'll see what ends up happening with this team. We're good offensively right now, not great defensively. We could address that defensive need, or we could just kind of simulate and see what ends up happening. So anything down below, and I'll see you guys next time.